Good morning, everybody, and welcome. We're here today, obviously, to welcome Dan Muse and his family as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins. Just to open and give some background on the process, obviously, late April into early May, we began our search for a new head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins. It was a fairly extensive process, and a special thanks to a number of our staff, namely Lucas Malloy and Nicole Gehring, who played a huge role in organizing, keeping us on track, and then to a number of members of our management team who participated in that process as well. That led to some in-person interviews here in Pittsburgh 2 weeks ago now, and then with Dan being named the head coach of the Penguins. What stood out about Dan during the process was that he was not somebody that I knew personally going into it. But right from the first time that we met, we spoke on the phone, and then when we met over Zoom and then met in person, it became clear that he was somebody that was going to be extraordinarily well suited to develop all of our players, not just our young players, but all of them. And what I mean by that is that when you look at his track record and then you speak to the players that he's worked with, whether they were in junior or at the U.S. National Team Development Program or with the Rangers most recently, whether they were a young player coming into the league or a veteran player that was continuing to try to find their way or stay in the league, Dan had made a strong impact on them. And obviously we have all those sorts of players here in Pittsburgh. The other key component to Dan was his track record in winning, but also winning at Yale in the NCAA, then going to Chicago, winning there, helping Nashville to have very successful seasons when he was a member of the Predator staff under Peter Laviolette, then going back to the U.S. program and helping them win a gold medal in 2023, and then back to New York where they had a very successful season in his first year, and then the impact that he made on the penalty killing units in his time in both Nashville and New York alike. And then I think finally, and probably the most important, was just the character and talking to players and people and staff members that Dan has worked with, just the way that he conducts himself, his work ethic, his intelligence, just everything about him. As we got through it and further on into the process, it became clear that he was going to be a great fit to help us, to partner with us and help lead us through this transition and then back into contention with the Pittsburgh Penguins. So on that note, I'd like to welcome Dan and his wife and 4 children to Pittsburgh and introduce him formally as the head coach of the Pittsburgh Penguins.
Well, I'll start off by saying thank you to you, Kyle, to the Fenway Sports Group, and the entire Pittsburgh Penguins organization. This is a tremendous honor. It's a dream come true, and I couldn't be more thankful. On a day like today, you reflect back. Also, just want to say thank you to all the different coaches, staff members, players that I've had an opportunity to work with and learn from. A couple people in particular that have made a major impact on me. Keith Elaine, head coach at Yale University, and Peter Laviolette, who gave me my first opportunity to work in this league. And last but not least, thank you to my family who's here today. My wife Maureen, our children Fiona, Neve, Kieran, and Honora. Love you guys, and thank you for being a part of all this and all the love and support along the way. Over the last, I think it's 4 or 5 weeks now, this process, and it's been an amazing process. They're trying to learn a lot about me, and I'm having an opportunity through this process to learn a lot about the Pittsburgh Penguins, the organization, and the city. And through this, this number one I learned, it's amazing people here. Through the interview process, all the staff members I've had an opportunity to meet with and talk to, they're amazing people. They have incredible ideas, and you can feel the want for collaboration and building together. And that's just so exciting to be a part of that. And then through this process, you see what an exciting time it is to come in here. You have legendary players of our game here in Pittsburgh, future Hall of Famers. You have these exciting young players that are coming up, and then you have a little bit of everything in between. And so to have an opportunity to work together with everybody here to make sure that these players are continuing to grow in wherever they are in their career, just can't tell you how exciting of an opportunity that is. You know, and then through this process, and especially over the last few days, just getting to be here, just getting to see what an amazing city this is, what an amazing place, the fan base, you know, the passion and the character that you can feel throughout the city. You know, you really just getting to feel that, especially once you're here and walking around and meeting people and talking to not just the members of the organizations, but the people in the city. And so it's an honor to work in the National Hockey League. And it's a huge honor to be a head coach in this league. And it's extremely humbling to be a part of this organization and this city, working with this staff and these players. And I couldn't be more excited to get started here.
We'll start with Josh here on the left.
Dan, welcome to Pittsburgh. Congratulations. Very simple start for you. What is it that really appealed to you about this job? And you've been a coach as an assistant and at younger levels of hockey for a long time. Why do you think now is the right time for you to be the head coach of an NHL team?
Yeah. Oh, and Josh, it's I guess going back to the start, like why is it exciting? It's, you know, those reasons, you know, you just mentioned, the people, the collaboration, the players that are here, and the players that are here in the different, you know, stages, you know, of their careers. And, you know, for me, it's, you know, all these experiences, you know, you're taking now and then you're working to apply them. And I feel extremely fortunate for all the steps along the way, you know, and it's the places I've worked, the people I've worked with, the people I've learned from. It's having an opportunity to work in pretty close to almost every role you can imagine. You know, second assistant, first assistant, video coach, head coach. You know, on my way coming up, and so now you're taking all these different things that I've seen, different things that I've learned, different things that I've done. Some things that, you know, along the way maybe have changed, and now you're getting an opportunity to work and apply them in this league. And I think especially having that opportunity to work in two different NHL organizations as well, you know, with all those different players, it's been, you know, it's led me to feel extremely confident, you know, in my abilities coming into this opportunity to work with the staff and everybody within the organization here.
Dan, welcome to Pittsburgh. The highest level you ever played was D3 hockey. Is that something you felt like you've ever had to overcome as a coach? You know, maybe proving yourself to players that are better than you were, especially now walking into a locker room with Hall of Famers.
And for the record, I wasn't a very good D3 player. Just so everybody's aware. I would not change a thing about my path. Nothing. I mean, I started, like, it's different, and it's probably a different, you know, if you look online, it's easy to find, like, you know, it's different. Like, I started playing hockey when I was 11 years old in Alabama. Like, the game was hard for me. Like, I loved the game though. Like, loved it. Like, from day one. Even before I lived in Alabama, I was in California. They didn't have ice, you know, and I'm playing like street hockey with my brothers, and that's how I got to this point. But it was also like, because it was hard for me, like, because I had to work really hard just to be like a high school player, and then really, really hard just to be a bad Division III player. That helped me become who I am. And so, like, I wouldn't change any of that. Like, that taught me about work ethic. That taught me about, like, you never quit. You don't stop. Like, you don't listen to any of the outside noise. You just keep finding a way. And so, would have been nice to have had an NHL career? Like, yeah, it would have been. But, like, I wouldn't, for where I am right now, those lessons, like, that's what made me me. And so I wouldn't change a thing. I think early on, you know, it's a little bit different. I think I was probably more intimidated, like, going into my first Division I job as an assistant than I was, honestly, ever again. I've been coaching up a higher level essentially my entire coaching career. And so I never try to be somebody that I'm not. I'm very upfront with it, and it was part of my journey. And so I wouldn't change any of it.
Hey, Dan, welcome to Pittsburgh. People who have worked alongside you, players have worked with you, talked about just how passionate you are about watching other people develop as players and probably coaches as well. What is it about player development that you find so rewarding as a coach?
It's a great question. Everybody's different, you know. Everybody's path's going to be different, and so as a coach, like, you enjoy that part of it because you got to find out, you got to learn who the person is. You got to and to really work with them and to help them. And I'm a big believer, like, you got to. It's easy to identify things for people to work on. Like, that's, I don't want to say easy, but it's probably easier. You need to do that, and you need to help people with that. But it's also part of player development is saying, like, what could you become, like, and helping that person believe that, and then helping guide them, helping them with a roadmap on how to get there, and then you're working together with the player in order to help that player take their game to the next level. And so when you're able to be there for a significant part of it and be able to see that growth happen firsthand. And it's never direct. There's always bumps in the road. There's always a step. There's almost always a little bit of a step back. It's just really, I think it's really rewarding to be able to be a part of that and to help players achieve those things that they're looking to do, and help them see, what could be possible.
Hi, Dan. Kaio's talked about returning the Penguins to contender status as urgently as possible, with the caveat that being a contender isn't just getting to the playoffs. What's your vision for that plan? How do you enact it, particularly with a roster that's still, as presently constructed, built up around a lot of veterans who, frankly, are towards the end of their careers?
And we've talked, Kyle and I have talked a lot about this, and there's a period of transition here, but within that, my approach is going to be, we're going to work throughout the entire summer. Coaching staff's going to come together, and we're going to put together a plan for the start of the year. And we're going to put together a plan, and we're going to be talking about working with every single player that's here. And so you do have players that have been in this league a long time and have done great things in this league for a long time, and working with those players to help them continue to take steps. And at the same time, we're going to be working on the younger players that are coming in, and how can they come in and make their mark here in this organization and in this league. And then we're going to be working with every single player in between. And so for me to put like a time frame on that, it's going to be day one of training camp. It starts. There's going to be a lot of work that goes into it beforehand, and that's to work with each individual and what they need. It's going to be to work with the collective group, and then as soon as we get on the ice for the first time, we're going to continue to build. And it's going to be a step-by-step process. Each day we're going to be looking to get a little bit better as a group, a little bit better for each of these guys.
Dan, congratulations, first off. This team has been attack first dating back literally decades. Will there be potentially a need to have to dial that back by way of laying a foundation of two-way hockey for your younger players?
I believe you have to work on both sides of the puck. And we will be. And so it's going to be, there's going to be, we want to play with detail. We want to make sure that the habits are in place that I believe and that, we believe, are going to lead to success. And that foundation is going to be there. I do want to attack. When we have the puck, we want everybody working to score goals. But when we don't have the puck, we want everybody working to make sure that we're defending the right way. And so, I don't think it's necessarily there's, just offense or just defense. We're going to be working on both sides of the puck for sure.
Dan in the second row. Hi, Dan. Kind of building on that, what is your coaching philosophy, and how much system are you going to bring to this team versus how much you're going to sort of create based on the players you'll have?
Yeah. So coaching philosophy, I guess to start with that, I believe, number one, it's relationship based in the sense that, like, I want to make sure to get to know each person, myself and the coaching staff. Until you actually get to know the people that you're working with every day, I think it's hard to truly, be able to get through to not get through to them, but to properly be able to work together with them. And everybody's different. I learned that early on in my coaching career, even before I was coaching. When I was teaching high school history, you go into a classroom and you got to figure out what makes each person what makes each person tick, what motivates them, how do they learn, what's best for them. And so, I think everything for me in regards to coaching kind of starts with that. And then from there, like, it's going to be, we want to work towards the way we play. Like I just said, it's going to be like there's details that I want to have built in, and there's habits that I believe lead to success, and so that's kind of the foundation. And I could go on for a long time talking about all these little things. I'm not going to today, but like there's a foundation that has to be built that has nothing to do with a forechecking system or your D-zone coverage. But once that's bases there, then we will build out. And so I have in my mind ideas on the way I'd like to be played. But right now, like it's also going to be about finalizing a coaching staff, bringing that coaching staff in. Like this isn't just about me. This is about our staff, our organization. And then there's conversations based on that we're going to put everything together, that we're going to have that collaboration, and then it'll be put in place. So to sit here today and tell you exactly what the neutral zone forecheck's going to be, I got an idea, but I kind of be making it up. So.
Dan, welcome to Pittsburgh. Kyle, nice suit. I got a question for both of you. Kyle, when somebody's hired to your position a couple years ago, they usually have a list of people they might think about if they have to meet a coaching change. Right. Why was it important for you to open this up as opposed to maybe just working off that list? Dan, you mentioned Peter and Keith. I'm curious what you learned from them that you think maybe you can apply as a head coach, and maybe what in any step you learned that you don't want to do but would like to not do what you learned, so to speak.
I go first. Yeah, sure. And just for the record too, I mean, I've been really fortunate, like really, really fortunate. Like there's so many people that I've just felt blessed to have an opportunity to work together with and learn from. Those two people in particular, having an opportunity to work for 6 years at Yale University as an assistant coach and an associate coach. And then with Peter Laviolette, he had never met me before. He gave me a first opportunity there to work in the National Hockey League. And he's also, and both of those people have been great mentors, but they're also like very, very great human beings and very close friends. In terms of learning, probably the common denominator there is, it's treating people the right way, and it's in learning how to empower a staff. Like that's empower staff and empower players. Like that's something that, had I not seen that firsthand from both of them, just the responsibilities they gave me, the belief they gave me and myself through their actions and through the way that we work together. I think that's something that really, I now know as a head coach and in the different head coaching roles that I've had, that's a lesson that I've learned from them that I've really worked to apply. And, in terms of, things that, maybe you learn that you don't want to do, like, I wouldn't say it's necessarily from anybody. You learn from experiences. You learn from all these different situations. I've learned I've gone from an assistant coach to a head coach, back to an assistant coach, head coach. It's gone back and forth. And like each time every stop you learn, and you learn from those around you, but you also learn from, maybe little things that you've done, mistakes that you've made, things that you wish you could have a do-over. And so I think we're always doing that, but I think for me, it's having that mindset of like, just try to get a little, not better every year as a coach, just get a little bit better every day. And that's been the mindset from day one. I've learned from myself and I've learned from those around me. And a year from now, I believe like I'll be a better coach, hope to be a better person than I am sitting here today. And that should always be the process.
In terms of why I felt it was important to open it up, Rob, I think that this search provides you a great opportunity to also learn, and I thought it would have been a disservice to the organization just to hire someone that I know very well or that I've worked with in the past without going through the proper process, especially given where we are and the unique nature of the job. It just gave us a great opportunity to learn things that are beyond our scope when you're just operating on a daily basis with the Penguins. So in all of the coaching interviews that we did, in particular the ones that were in person here, we learned a lot. And I think if we hadn't gone through that whole process and I just kind of turned to somebody that I've either worked with in the past or knew very well, we wouldn't have found what I believe is the best coach for the Penguins right now, which is Dan. So, I thought for me, I thought it was great to be able to meet lots of new people and learn lots of different things. And I'm hopeful that all the coaches that went through our process found it to be helpful for them as they continue on with their journey. But for us, I just thought it was imperative that we were extraordinarily thorough to find the exact best fit for the Penguins.
Congratulations to you, Dan. This question is for both of you in different ways. I'm going to get specific on you. When you look around the National Hockey League, the teams that are succeeding the most tend to be the ones that have the most mobile defensemen, that have the guys that can circle through the zone, can pinch up. Now, we've seen in recent years here, we've seen both the pluses and the minuses of that. In some cases this past season, big minuses. And I want to ask both of you if you've had discussions with each other about, I mean, you have to do this in concert, right? Everything has to happen together, the way you're building the roster and the way you do it. How much toward the defense can you guys create something of a symbiosis here?
It was a large topic of the interview process, as Dan knows, so I'll let Dan go ahead and can attack that one.
Yeah. You have to get the players.
Yeah, I do. Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
One of the things that, really excited me about this opportunity was the clear collaboration that's going to happen. And so, and that kind of started right away, within this process, and I think that early on in our conversations, and especially when coming in here and then meeting with other members of the organization, it became very clear that this is an opportunity for full collaboration at a really high level. And there will be. Like, I came into this job, I guess I walked out of the interview and came into this position feeling very strongly that that's going to be there. And that's something that excites me. That's something that, I've seen, and it's something that I believe in, that you have to have. You have to take all the resources that you have, all the different people and ideas, and you have to become, you're united in what your approach is going to be and everything that you do. And I believe that's what leads to success. And so that was, the conversations that we had, and I'm extremely excited about how that will work moving forward.
Do you believe in activating your defensemen?
Do I believe in activating them?
Yeah.
Yes. In terms of, you're saying in terms of offensively, getting up in the play? Yeah, I believe that the way the game is played right now, you need 5 players involved to create offense. Now, how you do that can vary. And you talk about, activation, and you talk about, the ways you create offense. Like, yeah, you need everybody. Now, the teams are too good defensively. They just are. I mean, everybody is. The goalies are too good. Like, you have to do different things to be able to create high percentage scoring chances, high quality scoring chances. It's just really hard to come by now. And everybody's built differently in how they're going to do that. So within the group of players that we're working with, it's looking at, how can we find the best version of that player to be able to help that. Just like we're looking on the other side of the puck, how can we get the best version of that player and who that player is and on the defensive side of the puck, and everything in between. So activation, yes, but how you go about it, that's going to be stuff that we'll be discussing throughout the summer and have ready to go their training camp.
Andrew on the right in the middle. Dan?
Oh, I've got part 2 here. Sorry. In terms of the D that we want to build, I think of course, you'd like it to be the biggest, most mobile, ability to move the puck and ability to make stops. I think in totality, it has to represent what we want and how we want to play. I also think that players largely fit into their system. So we may have guys that would sit back and not get into the rush. I'm talking about players we've had in the past or that we acquire. And a lot of that will fall on the two of us collectively when we're going to acquire a player, specifically a free agent, but when we draft a player or we sign a free agent in, this is the way that we expect to play. So that can happen in the draft process, it could happen in the free agency process after July 1st, and then be able to get an idea for that player's mindset and whether it may fit. of course, when we're talking about building out the team and how we want it to play, there's always a give and take between the coach and the manager. There's the way that Dan would like the team to play, and then there's the group of players that we have and the players that are available, and then trying to find the best way collectively to move the team ahead. And I think that's one of the things that I enjoyed most about the process with Dan, was that he has very clear-cut principles, especially once you peel it back a little bit and you get into the actual system stuff, and specifically stuff you'd want to install and with our players, which we're not going to get into today because it can be a long process and everyone will see that starting in training camp. But he's the key thing that came up to me was that he was very adaptable. There wasn't just one way that he wants to be able to play, and he was very easily able to communicate the way that he would teach very different systems, which gave great comfort not only to me but to our staff, that we weren't going to be bound by having to do one specific thing. Some of the coaches in the process had one way that they wanted to play, and that's fine, and that goes with all the sports. But Dan's adaptability and the proof of concept with his past teams was very important to us.
Thank you. Dan, congratulations and welcome to Pittsburgh.
Thank you.
Over here.
Thank you.
Have you had a chance yet to speak to the pillars of this hockey team, Sidney Crosby, Chris Letang, and what role do you see them playing during this transitional process?
I have, yeah. I've reached out, was able to speak with those two on day one, right after getting the position. And, finishing up, I've reached out to, I would say, it's close to 95% of all players under contract, not just players that were here this past year. And so we're still finishing that part up. But in regards to the veteran players that are here, you're always working with the leaders. You're always working with the players that have been in this league, and especially the players that you just mentioned too. Guys that have had not just been in this league but been in this organization for such a long time. And so you're going to be leaning on them to have those conversations, those. Basically daily discussions. There's going to be the big picture conversations, and there's a lot of the smaller conversations as well. Right now for me, this is all about just getting to know these guys, and so we're not diving deep into the hockey talk. We're not diving deep into those I've been on the job for like a week now, and so it's been a lot of time on the phone because it is important and it is priority number one to be able to start to develop those relationships. But we're going to continue to build on those as we go on through the summer and into the season.
We've got 5 more questions. Hey Dan, welcome and congrats. Just with regard to building a staff around you, looking at assistants, I'm curious just what kind of qualities or backgrounds might appeal to you as you look to bring people in around you. And kind of adjacent to that, Kyle, if I could, the 2 coaches currently still on staff, Andy Chiodo and Madison Nickel, do you anticipate them having an opportunity to be a part of the future here in Pittsburgh?
I can answer on Madison. I think he's one of the best at his job in the league. Just in having had opportunities to be around like other high-end people in that scope over the time now between my 2 stops and different other ventures. I think he's one of the best that we. And he's one of the best in the league, and we're very fortunate to have him. So he won't go anywhere. He'll be here. He's had the chance to. He and Dan have basically been the coaching staff for a week, and they've done pretty good. So we'll keep rolling along. But Madison's excellent. We're lucky to have him here in Pittsburgh, and he'll be here. With regards to all other members of the staff, including Andy, Dan will go through that process with them, and then I'll let him kind of talk about that process. But once we have that settled, we'll get that. We'll let everybody know and send that out.
Yeah, and we started that process right away as well. That was kind of day one. Calling players, also trying to start with that, right now we're having a lot of discussions, meeting with people. I have met with Andy. He's clearly an amazing human being and a great coach, and we're going through the process now of just figuring out what the staff is gonna look like. And so there's a lot of conversations. For me, the big qualities, you look for the person. You want to make sure that it's going to be a fit here within the group, within the organization, and then from there, I'm looking I'm looking for a little bit of variety, different experiences, different backgrounds, in ways different ideas, but where we still have that kind of the same base concepts that we believe in moving forward. And so there's a lot of great coaches out there. We've had a lot of discussions. We're continuing to. We want to move this process along as quickly as possible without not feeling rushed. We want to make sure that we're doing it right and making great decisions and building out the best fit for this organization right now.
Hey, Dan, welcome to Pittsburgh. Sort of along the lines, I think, of Andrew's question, but I think when fans look at the Penguins, they want to see the final years of Crosby, Malkin, Letang, and winning and getting to the playoffs. I'm sure you, coming into a new job, you want to win and get there as well. How do you balance that sort of urgency with also the development angle and the transition that the Penguins are in?
Yeah, as we've, I think, mentioned a couple of times here today, you have guys in different places in their careers, and that's very clear. My job coming in here is going to be to help maximize each person, help each person work towards what their highest level can be right now. And that's going to be my focus. It's going to be a day-to-day approach. It has to be. And so, for me to put a time frame, for us to put anything other than that, would be right. It's going to be about coming in, putting in the work, having a plan for each individual, having a plan to work for the collective group, attacking it starting in day one of training camp, and then building it. And that's all you can do, right? And that's what I believe. And that's been my approach prior. It's like, how do it's working for each individual, it's working for the collective group, and it's a day by day creating the right environment for each person to grow. And, and then it's going to be working together as a staff to make sure that that's happening. And that's the job. And that's what I'm coming in here to do, and this is what we're building a staff out to do, and that's what we're going to do.
Two more, Jeff, second round. Hey, Dan, congratulations, welcome. What did you do in the interview process to separate yourself? Did you do anything different? Like, what do you think you did to win?
You gotta ask him on that one.
No, I mean, from your perspective, what did you?
Did I do anything different?
Yeah. What do you think you brought that was unique, or bring that's unique?
I was just myself. Honestly, maybe that is different than other interview process I've gone through in the past. It's a huge, it's a massive honor to get the phone call. From Kyle asking if I'd be interested in talking. It's huge. This is the Pittsburgh Penguins. It's so it was a huge honor just to have that. But pretty quickly after I got over the fact that this is awesome. I'm going to get a chance to talk for a head coach. I wanted the job, and so I went in with the mindset I'm going to be myself. I'm going to be me, and if they like me, they like me, and if they don't, they don't. So that's all.
Hey, Dan, congratulations. As a failed street hockey player myself, I'm sort of curious, what drew you to the game in the first place? And then did you always sort of know as your playing career ended that coaching was something that you felt you could excel at? Or at least wanted to do, I guess?
Yeah, no, it's funny. I couldn't tell you exactly why. I just, I fell in love with the game. I got great parents. My dad's from Boston. He grew up playing hockey. His brothers played hockey. My mom's from Alabama, and so there's not much hockey down there. And they've we moved around the country over, and I just kind of one day, I don't know, just kind of thought this was awesome. Like, I had seen pictures of my dad playing. I was like, this would be really cool. I had cousins that played, and so you develop a passion, which is, it's a special thing to have, especially at a young age, to find something that you really love, and it gives you that drive and motivation, and so that kind of just started there, and they supported it, and even really kind of helped grow that passion. And then, I still wasn't very good at it, even though I was passionate about it. Right away, I always knew I'd want to coach at some point. I was coaching in college. I was part-time jobs as coaches, coaching even, whether it's youth hockey or high school lacrosse in the off season. And I enjoyed working with other people. I enjoyed that that teaching the game. And so it was pretty early on, and yeah, it's something that I think you combine that passion for the game and with passion for teaching. And yeah, it's for me, it's something that I haven't felt like I've worked a day in my life.